begin with the Q&A session here. Just want to remind everyone to please keep your responses, to yourself. Please no loud applause or support for any one candidate's answer or not. We'll rotate around where we start with the candidates. And candidates, please keep your answers concise so we can keep moving along and get to as many questions as we can. Mike, we'll start with you on this first question. We'll go down this way, and we'll come back here and go this way. First question, should the city invest in a new event center or in upgrading the current facilities?
Well, the city is currently exploring that particular issue. We have a task force that the council has appointed, and they're working very hard to see what the feasibility is of that. I don't think the city's prepared right now to make a huge investment in something like that right now. That's my personal feeling. Yes, it would be nice to have something bigger, but we have a really good partner in the Barnett Center to host numerous activities and events. But I think the task force will bring some good ideas and suggestions to us, and we can look at it in the future and see if it's worthy of pursuing.
Hello again. Sorry I'm nervous. Appreciate you guys being so kind. We definitely need an event center. We got a young adult population that we are really missing out on. They don't have a reason to stay, so they want to move. They want to explore. You got to give them a reason to stay. Plus, there's adults. They, don't have a reason to get a babysitter to go out at night. Got to have bigger names come in town, bigger events. And with an event center, I think it would be very good for the city. I don't have information or been talking about the incumbents, but they've already been setting this in place, so I think it's a good way for us to move forward, and it's a good decision if we just keep looking into it and, like you said, make it feasible for us to enjoy. Thank you.
New event center, it's something that's near and dear to my heart as a private promoter of special events. Right now, the city doesn't have the money to do it, so we're not going to step into the 2017-2018 budget and start an event center. The time to explore whether we need one or not is now, but I do believe that we do have some municipal facilities that are not being fully maximized. There's the Civic Arena and the Civic Theater, both of which need significant improvements to it just to maintain them as they are. But what we could do is we could make some investments by encouraging the Convention and Visitors Bureau and the Hotel Alliance, maybe to find some promotion, to try some special events in the spaces that we already have. Find the limitations, find the things that are working well. Then we can make informed decisions about whether our community is going to respond to Rick Springfield's concert. I would go, but we don't know if our community will. So instead of putting out $10, $15, $20 million into a new facility, let's use some of the facilities we have to the maximum capacity. That will help the committee that Clint is sitting on to decide whether or not we need to pursue an event center. Again, we don't have the money right now, but the time to explore whether or not we want to make this investment is now.
I would have to agree with some of the things Tom said. First thing we have to do, if we're going to have a new event center, we have to find, ask the question why. Why do we want one? What kind of events do we want to hold here? And I said you have to analyze the issue and the problem. Then you have to figure out what are the costs of what we want to do. Can we, renovate some of the stuff we have to accommodate some of the things, like Tom said, smart financial decisions. Can we accommodate half of the things we want to bring to the community? Or do we want to bring in those big stars and stuff where they demand a bigger venue to do this? We first have to just go to the community and say, what do we want our community to represent? Do we need to spend the millions of dollars of this, or could we accommodate, we can never make everybody happy, but could we accommodate 90% of the population using what we have? Now, this kind of goes back, not to bring it up now, but the library. Could we have not invested all that money in the new and renovated the old to allow more money to do something else? So again, it comes back to smart financial decisions And really, what do we want out of, a new event center? Do we need it? Maybe, but again, it's money. But, I agree with Tom. We have to, if you put it off and put it off, you'll never have the money to do it. So you have to start planning for an investment like this immediately.
Thank you for that question. I believe that the committee looking at this is our best option. Money, we're talking about a significant investment in our community. I'm not saying I'm disagreeing with it, but there's an awful lot at stake here. How is this going to affect the deck? How is this going to affect our other facilities in this community? Is the money going to be spent well to affect enough people in this community in order to make it worthwhile for an investment for the city? I agree that I don't believe that the city at this time has the money, but if we don't plan now and to look at the feasibility, see what everybody wants, and if it's a good investment, I think we go forward at that point. But until we have the numbers and we have the statistics, I just don't think we can do anything until those numbers are in. Thank you.
It's really hard for me to disagree with anything that Dave just said. When it comes to government, there are needs and there are wants. Don't know that the event center is currently a need to have. It's more of a want to have to me. And we need to make sure that we're using those taxpayer dollars to the best possible solutions that we have right now. There are many other issues that I think people in the community have. And as Tom and Josh and Dave also said, utilize the current facilities, maximize those, and those will help bring in the revenue for now to help put towards a future event center. And I'm looking forward to what the committee has to come on that. Thank you.
I think that our younger community is definitely, it's something that our younger community is super excited about, and it's something that they're very passionate about that we need. But it also comes down to something that we need to have a plan for. So we need to plan ahead for it, have everything set in place so that way we aren't setting ourselves up for failure with it. We want to make sure that if and when we do move forward with it, we can move forward with it to be successful. I mean, we already know that when there's a concert going on in Sioux Falls, you can go on any of your social media and you know all about it. So, I mean, just through that avenue, you know that the interest is there, but in order to make that interest actually stick and work well with our community, we need to look into all the different avenues of it and what it'll take with what our population is and what it can sustain. So it's something we'll need in our future, but we just, now is the time to look at it.
I think we're way too premature in planning for an event center that what they're talking about. It was 2 years ago that Aberdeen City owned the convention center during Dakota. And it came to a point where we had to sell it. And or renew a lease for no money. So we ended up putting it up for auction, and a company purchased that from us. So it took us out of the event business. And that sends a message to the company who wrote us the check, the big check, for the event center, that we want to compete with them. And I don't think we need to compete with private business, because there's already several event centers here in town. And like Mike said, the Barnett Center, we're a partner with the Barnett Center. So we can house big events in the Barnett Center if we need to. So I think we're way premature on an event center like what they have in Sioux Falls. That is, in my opinion, online.
An event center is a great thing. I see a lot of benefits to having an event center. But do we have the money? Do we have the funding? Should we look into it? Sure. Let's see what the options are. Let's see what we have. But is that a priority? Is that something we really need to be putting our money into right now? Let's see what our options are. Let's see what they come back with. Let's see what the finances look like and make a decision at that point.
I'm glad to see most of you agree with me. I set up a citizen task force. This is a task force of people who are in the industry, including the DEC, who are private citizens and who are in our business community. The main reason I set up a task force to look at this was because basically they have broad scope. This may not be a new event center. They may come and say, boy, we're going to partner with Northern to do their sound and facility upgrades to make it feasible for concerts. Or we're going to invest money in the civic arena, or we may invest money with help with the county, do a larger event. We don't know what they're going to do. They were given pretty broad scope. They will be having a public meeting at some point in the future for all residents who can go and voice their, well, opinions about it, basically their ideas. And that's what I really wanted to do. I'm thinking 10 years out. I'm always thinking 10 years out. What do we want something in 10 years? And this was one of the things in talking to the young people and the numerous people in the community that could add to the quality of life in our community and make Aberdeen more attractive. Are we going to build something like Sioux Falls? No, because we're a smaller community. It's just not going to work. That doesn't mean there can't be an investment in some of the facilities we have to make them great venues to hold those things that will make the quality of life a little